In this section, we'll be talking a bit about safe manipulation ethics, different security grades of locks and safes, and why it's so very rare for thieves to manipulate a safe. Let's start with some manipulation ethics. The first is don't manipulate a safe that's in use. Though it's unlikely you'll break a lock during the manipulation process, it is possible. And there are two situations you should be really careful of. The first is after a combination change. Don't ever close a safe if you change the combination until you've tested it at least 3 times with the door open. The second is if you've messed around with any of the bolts nuts. If you've loosened or undone any of the bolts, even if you put them back correctly, you have to be absolutely sure you haven't weakened any of the internal mechanisms or caused a safety feature, like a relocker, to be more likely to activate. It's going to cost you several $100s to get a locksmith to drill your safe. It's not worth it. The second is only manipulate a safe that you actually own. If you don't own it, don't touch it. You're in for a whole world of legal and perhaps violent consequences if you do. Don't even think about it. Third is to check the laws in your area. Laws are different everywhere, so check the laws that actually apply to you. Let's talk a little about the types of combination locks you'll find on quality safes, and for how long you can expect to take them to manipulate open. We'll be using the UL Underwriters Laboratory standards, which you almost always see. There are unrated locks, typically on very inexpensive safes. These haven't been tested or certified, and probably quite easy to manipulate. Next is the Group 2, which is what this course is all about. They've been tested by the UL to be a quality lock and difficult to manipulate open. They're not certified to withstand manipulation for a particular amount of time, and a good manipulator can open these on average about 20 minutes. Next is the Group 2M. The M stands for manipulation resistance. These locks have special features that make them difficult to manipulate. The UL has tested these against experts, and they take at least 2 hours, and sometimes a lot more, to manipulate. Next is the Group 1. These locks are top grade and extremely difficult to manipulate even for expert users. The UL has tested these, and they take at least 20 hours to manipulate. Finally, the Group 1R locks are resistant to radiation imaging attacks, like X-rays as well. There are lots of different kinds of safes you can buy. Many of them have been tested against physical attack by the Underwriters Laboratory. Each of the certification levels allow the thieves more tools and more time to get in. The lowest level of security is a residential security container. These safes are only certified to withstand physical entry using very simple tools for 5 minutes. The next level is TL15, which is much thicker and much more secure container. These safes are big. The attackers are allowed a few extra tools, but they are only allowed to attack the door, which is usually the most protected part of the safe. They take at least 15 minutes to open. The next level, TL30, allows the attacker more tools, most notably tools like angle grinders, and they take at least 30 minutes to open. You'll often see a ×6 added to the rating. These allow the attackers to not only attack the door, but any of the other sides. There's also very secure containers like the TX, TR, and TL ratings for explosives, torches, and a wider selection of tools. I really want to point out that until you move to the highest, ultra high security containers costing a fortune, do you get more than 30 minutes of protection. And remember, even a safe like a TL15 could be opened in less than 15 minutes with the tools the Underwriters Lab didn't allow for in the testing. Let's try to put this together. I've listed the UL rated safe with the type of lock that you'll typically find on that type of safe. You can see that for the lowest grade safe, the residential security container, it withstands only 5 minutes of simple physical attacks, but the lock resists manipulation for about 20 minutes. For other types of safes, they resist physical attacks of different varieties for 15 to 30 minutes, but the lock resists skilled expert manipulation for at least 2 hours for Group 2M lock and 20 hours for Group 1 lock. I want to really point out the physical attack is much, much faster than the manipulation attack. And this is key as to why thieves don't spend a lot of time learning to be an expert in lock manipulation. It just isn't worth it. It's simply much faster to do a low-skilled physical attack on the safe. There are many reasons why it's very rare for a thief to manipulate a safe. First, as we already talked about, it's much faster to physically attack a safe than to try to manipulate. Second, safe manipulation is a skill that needs to be learnt in practice, and a thief would be better suited spending that time learning to physically attack the safe. Third, manipulation is very difficult to do in a high-stress environment. You need to make extremely accurate and precise measurements, which is difficult when the police could be arriving any second. Fourth, it's difficult to know if you're manipulating a Group 2 or Group 2M lock just by looking at it. Many Group 2 and Group 2M locks use the same dial. You might not realize that you're manipulating a difficult lock for quite a while, so it's risky. If you make a mistake early in the manipulation process, you might not realize it for quite a while, and then you need to start all over again. That costs a lot of time. 6, most insurance requires a monitored alarm system. They would love the thief to sit down and start a long manipulation session so they could get caught. Finally, locksmiths and expert safe technicians don't typically manipulate. They will drill and then fix the container. Professionals feel manipulation is difficult, unreliable, and slow. This is why it's very rare for thieves to manipulate a safe. It's just not worth it. That's why I don't think what I'm doing is disadvantaging any safe owners. The next part of the course where we really get into the meat. We'll be getting into how Group 2 locks work. This is going to be really fun and visual. Please join me. Like, subscribe, and leave me a message.